Hi there, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the CV component of your MBA application. Now, all business schools ask for a CV, so it's absolutely critical that you get it right. Let's start with length. Now, in some workplaces, it's common for CVs to extend beyond 1 page, 2 pages, sometimes even more. For an MBA CV, keep it to 1 page. If you're struggling to squeeze everything into 1 page, don't be tempted to just make the font smaller or widen the margins or fill in every little piece of writable space. Chances are you're trying to include too much information on your CV. Boil down the content and focus only on what's really important. Sections. It's standard for MBA CVs to be broken up into 3 sections: education and qualifications, professional work experience, and additional information. Bullet points. Within each section, you should have 2 to 5 bullet points beneath each different role. The more recent and the more relevant the role, the more bullet points it should have. So things like internships that you did years ago, maybe only a couple of bullet points. Within these bullet points, focus on the 3 R's: your role, your responsibilities, and your results. So begin each bullet point with a verb. Some good verbs you can use are structured, managed, coordinated, researched, negotiated, advised. Use numbers as evidence wherever possible and avoid subjective comments. So instead of saying it was an important deal, say the deal was worth $5 million to my firm. Big one, jargon. Avoid industry jargon and abbreviations if you can. A good test as to whether you should use a particular acronym, for example, is: would a generalist HR person at my company understand this term? If they would, it's fair to say the business school will understand it as well. If they wouldn't, forget about it. Leave it out, use something else. Internships. Consider whether you want to include internships on your CV. Business school applicants tend to have about 4 years of work experience. If you have more like 8 or more years, you might want to think about omitting the internships from your CV and focusing on more relevant recent experience. Format. Use a standard font. You can't go wrong with Arial. When you first open your document, widen out the margins on the side to create a little bit more workable space. Contact details. Use a professional email address wherever possible. If you can't use your company email address because maybe you're unemployed or you want some discretion from your company, then use a professional looking personal email address. Your gamer email that you use in the web forums, it's not suitable here. Photograph. Now, in some places it's common to include a photograph on your CV, not for MBAs. Be sure to remove the photograph and any other potentially discriminatory information. So for example, race, age, sexual orientation, not on your MBA CV. Languages. Just because you studied a language when you were younger does not mean you should necessarily include that language on your MBA CV. Understand that if your interviewer happens to speak that language, you can be fairly confident that they're going to ask you a question in the language. And if you can't understand the question and respond in the language, then you'll have failed the test and the credibility of your entire application could be at risk. Templates. Some schools give you a template that you should use. For example, Oxford, they give a template and the link for it is in the blog post for this video. So clearly the resume component of your MBA application is absolutely critical. If you're not sure about yours, feel free to get in touch and let's polish it up.